What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Online Show where we do our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors, entrepreneurs alike, and the cryptocurrency world because crypto has the face melting, mouth watering, juicy gains we're all here for, and nothing is even close to it. So we're pumped to have you guys along for the ride. We've got an excellent guest on for today. So Corey, of course, you go ahead, do your introduction and introduce him.
Good morning, Hexicans. How are we guys doing? And how are you enjoying the PulseChain bottom? I think we bottomed. I could be wrong. It only takes one more well to smack it down even more. And if you Twitter Jeets want to go ahead and sell because you're toxic and tired of the price chart, feel free to sell. So me and Dane can go ahead and buy. But today, man, I wanted to bring somebody on who I've been watching his channel for quite some time. I tell you, every time I watch his channel, I learn something new. We're going to talk about some of those things that I've learned today. And this guy brings such a light, in my opinion, to the Hexican and PulseChain community because, man, he is a believer and he brings data to the table, alpha to the table that shows why he's a believer. And me and Dane love guys who can provide basically good reasoning, good proof, good alpha behind them just shilling, PulseChain 1000x, PulseX 1000x, or whatever have you. And man, he's just been in a blessing, I do believe, in this community. I want to introduce the man, the legend, the only Mr. Crypto 7. Thank you so much, brother, man. We appreciate you coming on today. This is freaking awesome to have you come on our show, dude. What's going on, brother? How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I was feeling quite high energy before the intro. Now I'm feeling even more high energy. Love the intro. I love the energy. I love the combo of you two. I always watch you religiously because I'm usually at a horse yard hanging around waiting for my daughter, and I watch you guys, and it's great. And so just got a lovely vibe, really good. And I think your approach of gaining the wealth through crypto and then wealth preservation and all that sort of thing, accumulation preservation, you say it better than me. Anyway, that stuff. And I think in hindsight, obviously that would have been a good approach for a lot of crypto people, would have been to sold at the end of 2021. But there you go, hindsight and all that. We are where we are.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, I keep smashing the 777s in the chat. I love that. We got 7 in the house, so let's play in some respect and give them the 7s in the chat. I tell you, man, your channel is such a wealth of knowledge, man. I could tell that you've been in this space for a while. You've got some alpha that I've learned. I'll give you one example. When you were talking about diversification inside crypto, obviously I was being diversified. Well, what I thought was being diversified, like with like Zen or Titan X. But then you were like, well, is that really diversification if it's just the same people buying those coins and same community? And I was like, he's right. I'm like, it's not diversification if I'm just competing with the exact same people that I'm competing in with Hex and Pulse and PulseX. And in fact, it's worse because now I'm competing with these same people with a terrible founder. All right. And I was just like, holy shit, he's right. When I'm looking to be diversified, I need to be looking like, oh, maybe it's gaming over on AVAX. Maybe it's, AI coins on Ethereum. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. And man, that was one of the biggest things I learned. But man, what is your thoughts where we're at in the market cycle? I saw your last your YouTube, and you were talking a lot about the cycles and what's going on there. And what would you say where we're at in the cycle?
Yeah, thanks. Well, I've been giving it a lot of thought because I think where we are in the cycle and being able to predict when we should be selling or taking a lot of profit off the table is the central thing. And the good news is that I'm concluding that we are actually much earlier in the cycle than most people in crypto think. I think actually we are much earlier. And this is strange because throughout the yes, and I have been very consistent about diversification, and thanks for that. And that's one of my consistent things I think I got right. It's being invested in things like Immutable X, things like Echelon Prime,
Yes.
things like Fetch AI that really have kept me afloat because I'm full-time crypto. So I've been able to sell some of those while I wait for the inevitable huge pumps in Hex and PulseChain. But I think we're actually really early, which is, and see, that's something I got right. Here's something I got wrong. All the way through 2022, guys, through the terrible bear market, through the bullets and the blood of 2022, I was saying, well, I think we're going to have a left truncated cycle because it's a very sexy narrative when you're in the bear market of 2022, which was much worse than the bear market of 2018. Let me tell you, and I think you guys were around for it, but 2022 was rough. And it was a great narrative because if you were dollar cost averaging in 2022, then you really didn't need to hang on till the end of a bull market. You know, you could be looking, a left truncated cycle would get you the wealth sooner. And so it was quite a nice thing to think. And it made a lot of sense. But for me, the clue, so it's not that I'm adapting my narrative to suit the fact that Hex and PulseChain haven't gone yet. So now, because Hex and PulseChain have been disappointing at this early stage, I'm now saying I don't think we are getting left truncated. That's not the case. I think the clue for everyone is the price of Ethereum and the fact that Ethereum is now just hanging on to $3,000, whereas months ago it was over $4,000 and within touching distance of the all-time high. So I think the clue that we are very, very early in this cycle is the fact that Ethereum is still just around 3,000. And I was listening to Benjamin Cohen last night, and he was saying he thinks we're very close now to Ethereum finally doing what guys like Ivan on Tech were predicting back in December, I think, which was for Ethereum to shoot up to 5K quite quickly. By the end of the month, he was saying, then he said it in January, then I think he said it in February. And had that been the case, guys, then we would be looking at a left truncated cycle, because had Ethereum shot off way above all-time high even before the halving, and had we gone to 100K Bitcoin around the halving or just after the halving, as a lot of people were thinking we might, being that we've got the ETF tailwinds and all the rest, then yeah, we would have been looking at a left truncated cycle. And guys like Hans, who do the TA in the ecosystem, and guys like Tangent were saying the exact same thing. Listen, if we are going to a 70, 80K Bitcoin in April sort of thing, then we could be looking at a left truncated cycle. But the clue for me is that Ethereum has still just stayed at 3,000. And why this is fantastically good news for every single person watching now. And please, if you've come over from my channel, give these guys a sub spike. Let's see what we can do. I really enjoy their channel, and I really enjoy their positivity. And you guys bring a wealth of experience and knowledge, both inside crypto and outside of crypto. So you guys have got a lot of USP, and I really appreciate you guys as well. But why where we are in the cycle and the fact that we are so very early is so important is because it means that every single hexagon and every single pulsicon has got zero anything to worry about. If we are just very, very early in this cycle, then no wonder we're not pulling up trees yet. And we can see that from Ethereum and things. And we know all about the leverage plays, and Somi refers to this and others, that PulseChain is effectively a leverage play of Ethereum. So waiting for Ethereum to get to 5K, which when it does start to move, it will do very, very, very rapidly. So a lot of the things that we're seeing as disappointing because certain cryptos like Render and Injective's been pulled back over 50%, but Render's, I think it's done about 40% in the last week because it's linked to AI, and other AI narratives are now starting to move. And other cryptos, as we know, like Solanzo, has done very well so far. And that makes us feel a little bit, envious, a little bit jealous, if that's the right word. And we wonder if we've made the right choices. But my experience is that you make your moves and you stick with them. And normally they were the right choices. You made those choices based on a lot of your own research, on your gut instinct, on the fact you like the sound of this Richard Hart guy, and just stick with them. But I think we're confusing being early with Hex and PulseChain not performing the way we thought it would all the way through 2022, when actually the sentiment in Hex and PulseChain was actually much higher then than it is now. I think, I don't know about you, what you guys think, but I think the sentiment was higher in 2022 when everyone was coming on my channel and saying, "Oh, they're Crypto 7, we're not going to have another bull market because there just isn't the liquidity, and where's all the money going to come from Crypto 7? Yeah. This is what they all said, isn't the recession, and look where we are now. I mean, this is one of the key things that I watch out for when it's this Nasdaq price.
Nasdaq composite 45.08 today, or 0.28% to 16,394.33.
Now that's almost where it was before the 300 friendly drones launched from Iran to Israel. It's almost completely recovered. When Nasdaq poops the bed, then we need to sell immediately as much as we were thinking of selling, or what we haven't got locked up in Quattro Cinco and all the rest. Then we should just sell hard. I'm actually thinking we need to do some sort of hypnosis courses where, like the hypnotist will hypnotize you. So when you hear a certain tune, you start pretending to be a chicken or something. I think we need that kind of hypnosis where the second that Nasdaq dumps, say, 15% in a week, then we literally just fat finger the sell button. I don't care about the slippage. I don't care about the price. Just sell the lot, guys, because when Nasdaq dumps sometime in 2025, because I think we're safe for 2024. I think whoever gets in 2024 in the US, I think it's going to be good for crypto because they all want to give out sweets in election year. I think whoever it is, it's going to be good. And then it's what happens, how long it goes for. I think for now, it's how long the party runs in 2025. But the second that Nasdaq starts to dump, I think we all just need to hit the ejector seat hard on crypto.
You see, I learned something every time, man.
You're welcome, man. Yeah. So Nasdaq dumped about 6 to 8%, something like that, over the 300 friendly drones. And so I'm thinking if it dumps like 15% sometime in 2025 in a week, then I think that's the sign the party's over then. And the Wall Street seem to know about what goes on sooner than we do. So for instance, they all started, all the ETF, all the BTC ETFs started selling the day before the drones, the day before. Whereas we were all scrabbling around on a Saturday, panicking, weren't we? When we started seeing them being launched and things, they knew about it on Thursday night, and the ETFs all started selling on Friday. And Grayscale started buying now 2 days in a row now, guys. That's fantastic.
I saw that.
Cheers for that. I mean, that's just amazing.
I saw that. And they were sellers before. They were net sellers. Now they're
every
net buyers.
day before. That's right.
Yeah. What does that tell you? I mean, like, they're not idiots. I'll tell you that much.
They're the smart money. The ETFs are the smart money. And one of the things that's confused us, and we could go on to a conversation about meme coins now, if you like, if that sounds good, Dane. One of the things I think that's confusing in this cycle, because the cycles are always different. People who say everything's always going to be the same, it's just madness. We all know that the only constant in life is change. It's the only thing that's constant is change. And so it's the same with cycles. They're always going to vary in things. One of the things I think that gets people a little bit worried in this slump, I mean, a lot of good altcoins have gone down more than 50% over the last few weeks. They're recovering now, but they went down a lot. But one of the things that makes people nervous that could have been the bull market top. I mean, I think you can rule it out completely, but there are some people a bit nervous about it. And it's because of the meme coin mania. Because normally in cycles, you only get the meme coin mania right at the end of the cycle. And the current meme coin mania reminds me a lot of 2017, when the whole crypto market was in such a state of euphoria that if you said anything around when do you think we might be topping, guys, or do you think that maybe this could be the end, or there were loads of top signals in 2017, and you would just be confronted with FUD, you're a FUDster, FUD. And it's a little bit the same now with meme coins. I think that there's that sort of euphoria currently. And I've been thinking about how to put this for your viewers. Currently, and I think it's great that we've got the meme coin vibrancy on PulseChain, and it shows a thriving ecosystem and all that sort of stuff. And it's good. And I don't have a problem with it on that front. But people take it a little bit further. They go too far with it. So I hear people say it's a cultural revolution, or it's the little guy, rebelling against the VCs. I mean, all this is vacuous nonsense. I mean, it's the stuff of politicians.
It's narratives.
It's Robert. Yeah, it's just clever
There it
sales.
is.
Speak. It's just clever sales.
Yes.
Speak. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just dross. Look, currently, how I would put it is this: currently, the really good layer ones, whether newly launched or existing, the cryptos dripping with use case cannot compete with meme coins, and that's because currently they cannot compete with the impatience of the crypto bros like us who've been through the bear market of 2022. We're waiting patiently and impatiently for the bull market, and we've worked out that if we just put our money together into little piles, it'll pump up, and and that's great. We can trade on that, and it keeps us entertained, and that's fine. As I say, it shows a vibrant ecosystem. It certainly hasn't hurt Solana, etc. But I think that just as the use case cryptos, the legitimate cryptos cannot currently compete with the impatience which is reflected in the meme coin prices. So once Ethereum starts to rocket, as Benjamin Cowen says it will soon, and we get into proper altcoin season, then I think the meme coins won't be able to compete with the new money and the new investment coming in, which will be completely just targeting things they've heard of before, like Polygon and Solana and Cardano and Ethereum, and these things are going to pump massively. And then what I think will happen is that at the end of the cycle, the meme coins will have one final hurrah. And I mean, that hurrah could well make people millionaires if they remember to sell. I mean, I think that there's still some mad gains to be had in meme coins much later in the cycle, but I think that's just how it'll go. So currently the proper cryptos cannot compete with the impatience which is reflected in meme coins. And then once we hit altcoin season, the meme coins will not be able to compete with the amount of money that's coming into the market to the known cryptos like Solana and like Cardano.
Retail,
and
true retail.
True retail, and also more of the institutional investment, because we've seen nothing yet. And I think that's reflected. I don't know if Dane, if you can just pull up the Doge price chart on the all time. I don't know if you could just pull that up. If you just like the best known meme coin is Dogecoin, of course.
It is
if you just take a look at that now on the all chart, if you're able to just pull that up, I could just show you something.
It's the blue chip of all meme coins.
And it's the one that they're saying is going to pump again. And when it starts to pump, that's when retail's coming in. So it's a bit of a biometric, it's a bit of an indicator that things are coming.
What is the reasoning behind that, though? Why is Doge pumping the retail indicator?
I think it's because it's the best known meme coin, and I think it's because a lot of these guys, your normie friends down the pub, they've got Dogecoin on their phone still and things. If you pull up the all chart, then what you should be able to see.
Is this the right one? Does this look right?
Is this Dogecoin? I don't think so.
This doesn't look right though, right?
No, it isn't. It looks like it might be like it's some kind of Doge on Uniswap on Ethereum.
It's on CoinMarketCap. I think it's in.
Well, go to CoinMarketCap, Dane, and pull it there.
Yeah, let's do that.
That'll be your easiest.
Thanks.
Yeah. And Doge, that's created from Litecoin miners, isn't that correct? Or if you had a Litecoin miner, you're able to produce Doge.
That's right. It's a clone of Litecoin. It's effectively Litecoin. Yeah, that's right.
There it is.
There's a lot of confusion of it. It's got the tailwinds of this Elon Musk association. A lot of people think it's I'll just put these on. Yeah, so what you can see very clearly, if you look at the oil chart there, is what you can see is, yes, it went to nearly $1, something like 70 cents. But what everyone can see looking at the chart that Dane's kindly pulled up is that you had literally 5 minutes to get anywhere near the top. And this is typical of all meme coins. And this is typical of the price performance of a meme coin in a bull market. You literally had hours or maybe a couple of days to get anything, any semblance of anything light near the top. After that, what you were in is a position of rabbit in a headlight where, say you had $100,000 in Dogecoin at the top of the bull market in 2021. Well, then literally 36 hours later, that's 20,000. And that's such a hard hit to the stomach that, yeah, I know you're laughing, that you can't sell. You don't know what to do, and you panic and you go and have a little cry in the garden and you come back and then it's 10,000. And that's how it goes. So when you hear people say, "Oh no, the meme coins are now top dog. Meme coins are now the new big thing because they've got everyone's behind them, and they're the new cultural revolution and all this sort of like vacuous crap," then you just got to look at the price chart to see that's not the case. The reality is that the moment the meme coins top and start to crash, then everyone is going to sell like rats off a sinking ship, and they don't come back. And so if it was true that they are sort of like, you know, you've got these strong communities behind them and things, then you wouldn't be seeing this. This is what you're actually seeing in the price chart. And so what happens is that as soon as the prices crash with the meme coins, and they do hard, then people stop tweeting about them and people stop talking about them, and then you've got nothing. And then you go back onto X to find your new friends in Dogecoin or Pepe or whatever it is, and they've all gone. Yeah, that's right, Dane. They're not there anymore. All your friends, all your new friends, and you find they were fair weather friends. That's all I'm saying. So great that we've got all these projects launching on PulseChain. But guys, come on. What's going to happen is currently the good stuff like Richard Hart's tickers cannot compete with the level of impatience amongst the crypto bros, like all the nice people watching now that have gone through the 2022 bear market. And we've worked out that if we put some money in a pile together, it'll go up like crazy. And some of us will benefit from that, particularly if we were the founders or something else. I don't know, you know. And no, but it's all good, but just don't where I sort of like, oh, I have to push back. It's not. Just realize what it is, and realize that just as we can't compete with impatience now, so the meme coins will not be able to compete with the impatience, with the money flow through TradFi, and as more people come in, the retails and normies, as you say. Thanks for pulling that up. I don't need that anymore. Just wanted to show you what narrow window of time you had to buy anywhere near the top with Dogecoin. The contrast, of course, is with Hex. You had tons of time. And then it gave you another chance. And then it gave, how many chances did it give us, guys? I think it gave us 3 chances to get above 30 cents. And then we had another chance to buy at 20 cents. And as people are listening now, they'll be thinking, God, I wish I'd taken that chance. And then we had a chance to buy at sell at 12 cents when we had the PulseChain launch, 12.7, I think it was. And that's because there's substance behind the cryptos, unlike a meme coin. That's because there's substance, there's tokenomics, there's utility. That's because there's there's founders with track records. And so, yes, delighted to see meme coins doing well on PulseChain, I think. But I just wanted to sort of like give my perspective and where I think we are actually at. We're very, very, very early, and that's great news for hexagons and pulsicons. And while we are this early, some of us have decided because the hexagons and pulsicons have got a lot of money. As a community, we're very wealthy. We've got a lot of economic force. So if we decide we're going to favor a certain meme coin, well, guess what? It's going to go to the moon. Yes, it is, and that's very eye-catching, and that's great. And that brings eyeballs to PulseChain. Yeah, PDI or Ben Armstrong's crypto, whatever that was called, and things like that. You know, they just like,
yeah.
And and it's good, but it's just have to put it in perspective, I think.
It's I think many of us are patiently waiting for the time for PulseChain to suck all the air out of the room, so to speak, when it really goes. And so you said a number of interesting things. What makes you so Corey and I were heavily engaged this bear market, less so the last one. What makes you say that this one was a lot worse than the previous one?
Yeah, thanks. What is it? There were definitely things. Well, certainly it's been much worse for hexagons and pulsicons, I think. There was a high expectation, and of course we had a massive price drop. 2023 started well, and then it took a lot of that away later in 2023, and that's always a bit of a mind play, that one. It always messes you up a bit. So I think for that reason, I think also the fact there was just this strong narrative throughout the bear market, which was hard to push back against, which was that crypto's never seen a recession before. The regulators are going to stamp on it. they're going to ban it, all this sort of thing. And it was hard to argue against stuff like that, even though instinctively you knew that there was actually going to be plenty of money. As I say, it was the most common thing I would get on my channel in 2022 was people saying, where's the money going to come from, Crypto 7? There isn't the liquidity. We can't possibly have another major bull market. But I think so. I think for some of those reasons, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
What Mitch has a great question here. Yeah, what about some of the memes that have liquidity locked together or bonded together, I should say, or some of these that have already kind of established themselves? Do you, in your opinion, what do you think happens to those?
Yeah, as I say, I think that it's great that we've got all these meme coins. Some of them will be better than others, and that's always the case. I like the ones that you described there. From the influencers and things, they seem to be a very good example. And I don't really talk about meme coins on my channel because I know that would pump the prices up. But one that I'm happy to refer to is like Axis's crypto. I think Crispy's and Randy's are also good. And so I mention them occasionally from time to time, but I tend not to mention them. I think it was interesting that I watched, I think he jumped on with you guys yesterday, didn't he? That's right. He jumped on with you guys with Axis. He jumped on with you guys. And even Axis, who has a crypto himself, of course, a couple of cryptos, I suppose you could say. He said that when Hex and PulseChain really start to rocket up after Ethereum is pumped, because that's the sequence, of course, everyone. When Ethereum starts to head off up to 5K and beyond, that's when Hex and PulseChain are going to start to really rip. And he said that Hex and PulseChain will suck the oxygen out of the room for a lot of the meme coins. And this is coming from a meme coin founder. I like Axis, and I like that level of honesty and that level of integrity that you get from him. But even he said it. That listen, by the way, he said it might not be permanent. He doesn't expect it to be permanent. But it was a very, very open and transparent and honest statement to say that actually my coin might dump, and so might all the other meme coins on PulseChain, if PLS and PLSX do half as well as I'm expecting them to do. And this, I think, goes to my point, doesn't it? But interestingly, which I spent quite a bit of time today talking about, which is that currently the good cryptos like PLSX, incentive token, PLS, cannot compete with the impatience of the community. And therefore, the meme coins are top dog. But when they start to run, as Axis is predicting they will, then he's saying that the meme coins will not be able to compete for a period of time. Might be just a month or two or whatever, you know, or it might be just that they still go up in dollar terms, but they don't go up as much as Hex and PulseChain. I mean, I think that, you know, we've got such incredible gains to look forward to, guys, and it's just going to be absolutely amazing. I can't wait.
What's your
for that shift? Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, there we go. What's your long-term outlook on Hex and PulseChain? And to Dane's point, what's the shift look like? I love that. It's a great talking point.
Yeah, so if we're right that we are actually quite early in this cycle, and then I think that we could be seeing incredible gains in Hex and PulseChain. I mean, I was listening to Arthur Hayes, who seems very, very good. Interestingly, and I always love this, Arthur Hayes, he spends all his time skiing now because he's made so much in crypto. I think he had an exchange.
He's a billionaire from Bitcoin.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah, he's generally thought to have a very good take on the market. And in fact, he predicted this big retrace in altcoins. I mean, most altcoins have retraced more than Hex and PulseChain recently, but he predicted this exactly right. And he's saying Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million and Ethereum, goodness knows what, in 2025. Now, as I say, this guy's got a track record of good calls. In that sort of an environment, Hex and PulseChain, it's beyond belief what they could do, you know.
But let's reel it back in. I don't think anybody watching here thinks Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million in 2025. Do you?
It's just a question of liquidity. It's just a question of, for instance, currently.
I mean, you would need
the short answer is no, because I think
the stock market move everything to Bitcoin for those prices to like
That's right. I think it could easily go to 1 million, but I don't think it will go to 1 million because I think that the ETFs are going to determine when the bull market ends. We saw that with the 300 friendly drones. Even though they've only been accumulating a few months, they started selling every day, and that helped to push the prices down in crypto quite rapidly. So imagine when they've been accumulating for another year, what they will do when they decide they've made enough money. So most analysts predict are not as bullish as him. Most analysts are sort of are around the 120k Bitcoin to about the 450k, and the medium is about 250. And this is important because this is what. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, isn't it, that the very, very close to Richard Hart's 241. Now, all these institutions and all these billionaires will be getting paid advice from people, top people, who will probably be borrowing from these analysts' forecasts and saying, "Listen, this is a conservative 120. This is a bullish 250. Sorry, this is the middle of the road 250, and this is a bullish 450 or whatever." I think, therefore, the institutions will come to a decision that around about the 240. Interestingly, 241 is just front running 250. I think that's when they will decide to sell. And because they will have so much economic energy locked up into Bitcoin, then when they all decide to sell, and they were collectively deciding to sell after the drones, so thank goodness things are coming back now. And as like you say, Corey, the Grayscale have bought twice in the last 2 days, bought every day in the last 2 days. I think they will determine it. But it could, it could. And that's the exciting thing about it. I just think we are very early, and therefore, and of course, I've seen some people in the community saying we need to promoting Ethereum, and I love that. I get that. That's really good, because the better Ethereum does, the more they're going to run into the gas fee problems, the more they're going to run into the congestion issues, and that's when PulseChain is just there to sort of like soak up so much of the demand pressure and things. So I think that's really, really, really bullish as well. So I am very bullish on Hex and PulseChain, and I think things look really good. Particularly, as I say, I think we are just very early, and we confuse that and the meme coin interest and things, and we start to think, oh, when are the core tickers going to go? But I think they got plenty of time, and when they do start to move, for instance, this altcoin season, which I think we're getting very close to now, you typically see a 4 or 5x in most of your cryptos in 21 days. And that's phenomenal. And I think that everyone in the Hex and PulseChain community after a 4 or 5x are going to have their mojos completely restored. Agreed. And so going to your point, Dane, so if we were to see a 4 or 5x in Hex and PulseChain over a 21-day period or more, then maybe we just see a 2x in the meme coins, for instance. So in terms of their price against PLS, they're getting wrecked. But in terms of the dollar, they're still ripping ahead and everyone's happy. So, you know.
When I know nobody has a crystal ball. Do you have any thoughts on when these transitions? I mean, do you think that so here's a couple prevailing thoughts in the PulseChain ecosystem. There's some people thinking that we need to see ETH really really go for it before you see something like PulseChain rip itself. There's other people that think they kind of run together because there will be people piling in anticipation of what PulseChain could do as ETH grows and that SAC wallet balance grows. I mean, what are your thoughts in relation to moving with ETH, or do you still think there's a good amount of time to accumulate before things could really go?
Well, I think the good news is, I suppose, there isn't a lot of time to accumulate. I love, by the way, Corey, you often say, I just hope the prices stay down another month or so, because it's great to know people still
Twitter Jeeps sell. Yeah. All the toxic Twitter Jeeps, just sell your bags for the three of us can buy. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't think there's long. And what the lag is between Ethereum pumping, I think definitely Ethereum has to pump before PulseChain is going to pump. I think that's been shown, and that's the case for a lot of new layer ones that are being raved about. With the Rust-based programming language and things, there are lots of like Sui and Seon, Aptos and things that are in the exact same boat, and they're waiting for Ethereum to pump as well. I mean, Aptos has lost still 50% down since the friendly drones. still 50% down. It was nearly $20 a month ago, and now it's less. It's $9 now. So, and that hasn't been associated with any nasty letters from Gary Gensler. So
Right.
it's not personal, guys. We are just really early. Aptos bros must be really pissed off. I mean, I hold Aptos because, as you know, I diversify and I'm open about that. I've always been open about that. So I'm
I
pissed
love that.
off. Yeah, so I'm well pissed off. Do you know, right? I had a look this morning, and you could have bought Aptos the same price a year ago. So the 300 friendly drones pulled the price of Aptos, which is the Move programming language, Rust base everyone's raving about. The Aptos is what was going to be the Facebook crypto. It's had all the development spent on it and everything else. It's got lots of VCs behind it. It's ready to go. It doubled in price. I was like, here we go. I'm going to make some money now. Crypto 7's going to make some money. And it's pulled all the way back to $9. It was $8. It's embarrassing. And that's not getting any nasty letters from Gary Gensler. It's just that it's waiting for Ethereum, just as we are. I think we are just very, very early. And that's another sign, if you like. It's the fact that Aptos, a whole year wiped out. And so the people that are getting in now, sort of. So the people that are getting in now could have saved themselves a whole year. But the only thing is that no one gets in now that's new. No one gets in now that's new. One of the problems we've got in Hex and PulseChain is that we're all so excited that we shot our load, we used our clips, and most of us haven't got a lot more money to put in now. But you know, if we did, we would probably be buying more. I know I would be buying more, and I think a lot of people would. So yeah.
That's why we wanted to stay down longer, keep making money in the real world, so I can keep putting clips in.
And I've got members who are exactly the same. They're getting up at 5 a.m. and they're working really hard and earning lots of money, and they're still buying and things. And there are people out there that are doing that. But I think it's when the new people come in, and then the channels will be routing them to the layer ones that haven't really done much. And certainly, I think Hex and PulseChain are top of the list. But we need a sort of 3 or 4x in Hex and PulseChain for everyone to realize that it is a resurrection coin and not a dead coin. Because the very best coins are a resurrection coin. The very worst coins are a dead coin. And how you prove you're not a dead coin but a resurrection coin is we now need a 3x. So we need a 3x. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg, but we haven't got the Ethereum pump, so we haven't got altcoin season, so we haven't got the new money, and the existing hexagons and pulsacons have pretty much. We've all got so much Hex and PulseChain that, you know, if it does half as well as most of us expected, well, we don't need any more Hex and PulseChain. And that's the slight quandary. At a certain point, something's going to break that gravitational pull, I call it. We're sort of like in this gravitational pull of, you know, we need a 3x to restore the mojo and to prove to everyone that we're not a dead coin. But
why a 3x? What's specific about that?
I don't know. It just feels like even guys like George from Crypto or us couldn't look at us then and say, because it's a good question. Thanks, Dane, for asking. It's if you look at on the price chart, you would then see like, oh, it's alive again. You know, it would be well off the bottom then. You'd see it in the zoom out, whether you looked at it on the year or the all chart. You'd go, oh yeah, so it's not dead then. You know, I don't know. It could be 2x, it could be 4x. I don't know, but
Sure.
we need something where nobody can say this is a dead coin, and everyone then has to reluctantly agree it's a resurrection coin. And it's undisputable that the resurrection coins are always the best coins to get in. Hex was written off, and so that's why it did a 10,000x when it launched in December 2019. Solana was written off when it kept crashing, and it went down to $8. And I think there were some other issues around Sam Bankman-Fried and things. So it went down to $8. Everyone wrote it off. And the clever people were buying it, of course, and then it, you know, it's gone off. People are saying now that Solana is going to go to $2,000. I don't think it's going to go to $2,000 at all. That's another 10x on where it is now, and it's already done like a 20x or something. So that would be a 200x, and there's no way that Solana is going to do a 200x. But it's very interesting.
It is. This is a good question. I like this from CryptoCat Doge. Yeah, do you think that because more Bitcoin will be locked in ETFs, less money will flow into alts? Back to your. Yeah,
I see this narrative floating around a lot on Twitter.
Interesting one, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, because these guys that work at the institutions and are recommending to clients, they're also buying. Some people, if it's a pension or an insurance company that's using the ETF, these people will also want to buy it themselves. I mean, there's this fantastic unintended consequence of granting the ETF. They had to grant the Bitcoin ETF because they lost in court. But the unintended consequence is that TradFi and Wall Street now think that Bitcoin has got regulatory seal of approval. They think it's absolutely legitimized by the ETF, and to a great extent it has been. So I think it's phenomenal. But there is a process, though. There's between the first stage is, can we buy the ETF? The next stage is, should we? So most of the RIAs, most of the institutions have now embarked on, should we, and how much should we be recommending to clients and things. So there's all that. So I think yes, the ETF is not quite the same as people buying it and holding it, but I think it will encourage that process more and more.
I like it.
I do too. And I think also when retail, no matter what, all the Bitcoin's not in the ETFs. You have retail holding Bitcoin too, and Ethereum, and those guys are going to want to degen into altcoins. So you got the institutions of the ETFs pushing it up, and then you're going to have they're mooning. These retail bags are mooning. They're going to go and degen with altcoins. Like, the altcoin seasons are not dead. And I see these narratives on Twitter. I'm like, that makes no sense. You're pumping everyone's bags and you're telling me they're not going to degen? Get the hell out of here. There's no way. Like, yeah, the ETF's not going to degen, but everyone riding that wave up is going to. Like, that's the part I don't get.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Ethereum ETF, it's almost certain not going to happen this month, but it's sought by Bloomberg, who's been pretty accurate on this. They think it's very high probability before the end of the year. I think August, September, something like that. And it's basically a case of Larry Fink wants it. He's made it clear he wants it, and what Larry Fink wants, he gets. Apparently. So
funny how that works.
yeah. And whichever new party comes in, they're going to want to keep him happy, aren't they? So an Ethereum ETF is going to be huge, but even without it, I mean, guys, we didn't see Bitcoin wasn't at all-time high for very long in the UK, and I think it was the same in the States. In a lot of countries, because of their inflation, Bitcoin was at all-time high for much longer, but the media in the States is going to go crazy when Bitcoin goes over 80,000. They're just going to go nuts for it. And they really get the narrative that when you half the supply of something, so we've only got 450 Bitcoin a day instead of 900, the prices go up. They get that from all the issues that happened in Ukraine with the corn and stuff like that, So they get that issue. It's like they've got the ready-made narrative. They're going to know how to explain the Bitcoin price this time, and everyone's going to FOMO in big time. And I think the fact that the institutions are buying is such a signal. And back to your point, Corey, that grayscale buying sends such a signal, I think, because they all seem to do things more or less the same. So you get days when all the institutions are selling the ETF, and they get days when they're all buying. And I think they love the fact that grayscale's buying, because I've noticed as soon as grayscale started buying a few days ago, all the institutions are buying. So there's not just the economic force of grayscale; it's the messaging, I think, which is huge.
Yeah, it's interesting. What do you think that is it just a matter of green candles for the RH core stuff to reclaim their glory? Something because a lot of the narratives from the last bull run have been shown to not be accurate. They've all been laid to waste. And so, what needs to happen for people to consider Hex, for instance, a store of value? What are your thoughts there?
Oh, on Hex, yeah, it's interesting. I think that we need to. PulseChain is the driving force behind Hex now. I think
yes.
that a lot of people. Cheers. I think a lot of people are emphasizing the issue of the SEC. I don't think that Richard has to beat the SEC for Hex to moon, but I do think we're going to need to start seeing some major uplift in PLS and PLSX and perhaps PHEX. And then people might be more encouraged to want to start using the store of value, because if there's no point having a piggy bank on the blockchain if you haven't got any money to put in the piggy bank, is it? So we need the hexagons to be enriched and enriched, whether it's in meme coins on PulseChain or in incentive token or PLSX. And PLSX looks very strong. I think PLSX is a good. I think people that had the courage to buy PLSX at 4 zeros and a 1, I think they're going to be rewarded. I think they were rewarded, weren't they? But I think that was obviously because they did a quick 10x, didn't they? And it was a little sign of how much crypto is going to pump. So I personally don't think that we need to beat the SEC for Richard Hart's tickers to go to the moon. I just think we need to wait for Ethereum to go. And then we have permission, just the same as Aptos is having to wait for permission, taxing on the runway for the last 12 months, and they've not had any nasty letters from Gary Gensler.
I like it. I agree with that. Yeah.
Ethereum ETF is the catalyst. I always say in this show that there's 4 things that could really make PulseChain moon. 1, the Ethereum ETF. That's an amazing, for all crypto, not just everywhere, right? The whole entire crypto ecosystem. Some clarity around the RH case. He doesn't need to win it, but some clarity around it. PulseChain upgrading to privacy. I know some of the people have seen devs working on PulseX, talking about that we can be the only EVM chain with privacy. That is freaking massive. Like, whales don't like for people to hawk them and watch every move that they make. So whales would love and appreciate privacy. And then the last, and I know I've heard you talk about it, I would love to hear your prediction on this though, is RH streaming. Because I feel like these subculture communities and some of the toxicity of following the more like the people who are like almost like dictators in these little sub communities, they follow because they don't have RH to follow no more. They used to watch RH. They used to have somebody to really buy into. They don't have that. So if RH came streaming again, holy crap, you better hold on to your shorts because PulseChain would freaking moon. So what are your thoughts on him streaming? I know you've had a couple different calls. In fact, you were accurate with the Christmas one. You were like, hey, Christmas, he's coming out with a video, and he did. You called it. You called the Christmas video.
It was the closest thing to a stream. It was a long video. It was about an hour long, wasn't it? And it had the camera on. It was almost a stream. I mean, there's far too many people watching Richard's streams for him to engage in the comments. So it's almost like, why have the comments anyway? So it was effectively, it amounted to the same thing, but it didn't make a lot of difference. Did you notice? It didn't make a lot of difference to the price.
I felt like I was watching a stream. Yeah.
Yeah. But it didn't impact the price. Right. I think if I would love him to stream, and like everyone, I would love him to stream, and I know you guys would love him to stream. My honest sense is that if he was to stream tomorrow, it wouldn't magically give us a 2 or 3x. I really don't think it would. I think we've got to a point now where the community have kind of bifurcated into so many different subsects, which is fine. That's like I started saying at the beginning of the stream, change is the only constant, and things do change and evolve. There are so many subsectors of the community, and I don't think that, for instance, I don't think it would cut much ice with the meme coin guys if Richard was to suddenly stream and the prices are down where they are and didn't move. And I don't think they would move, because I think we're just where we are with the sentiment. I think this is where we need this gravitational pull thing comes back again. I think we need that 3 or 4x, and then maybe Richard will stream. When PLS and PLSX are both at the sack price, then I could really see him streaming. And of course, we've pulled back since then, which is disappointing. But it's not really disappointing. I think it's more frustrating than anything, because, and this is what pushes people towards shiny things, of course, because we've all had an opportunity to buy PLSX at 4 zeros and a 1. We either took that opportunity or we chose to walk past it. And so, yeah, it is a great price for newbies, but who wants to come into the ecosystem now? And it's not as cheap as it was. So we're kind of like, there's a point, and this is what Johnny Chaos was saying when he streamed with me last week. He was saying we need to go down to a price where people just cannot walk past it anymore, and we get those one or two big whales that go, this is it, I just can't resist it, or I didn't have the money then because I was doing some big deal, some big real estate deal, but I do have the money now, and so I'm going to go in hard on PLSX, which looks like a great chart to me at the moment. So
Me too.
I missed 4 zeros and a 1, but I can't resist 4 zeros and a 2 or something, and that just starts it then, and then everyone just starts FOMOing in, don't they? And then I think Richard streams. I think Richard will wait till the mojo's back in the community, and then he'll stream, which will turbocharge it. I think similarly with his putting his money into the ecosystem, he tried that, didn't really work because it was a point where it was seen as just exit liquidity. It was seen as just the founders just trying to prop his coin up. I think he'll wait, just like he's going to wait to stream till everyone's happy and partying. I think he'll wait till the price is naturally moving up alongside, going to your point, Dane, either alongside Ethereum or shortly afterwards. When he sees that happening, then he'll start turbocharging his ecosystem by putting some money in. And that's where as well, of course, some of the meme coins just will not be able to compete with that, will they? Because suddenly you've now got Richard Hart. I mean, say no more. You got Richard Hart, the guy who raised 27 million for charity, but he doesn't like to mention it, who's going to start streaming, whose layer 1 is going up with Ethereum, and he's going to put some money in. You know, I like dick butts or whatever, but you're not going to compete with that, guys. You're just not going to compete with that, you know. Shout out to all the meme coin founders, but you know, so no, it's great. So in a way, it's quite nice because it can occupy the board hexagons now. Oh, one of the things, and thanks for giving me so much time and things. Yes. One of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about is something that I've learned in this journey. Apart from being very thick-skinned, there's a couple of things that triggered me last year, and nothing will trigger me now. I'm well past that, and I had an injury, and so there were a couple of people triggered me at the wrong time. But I'm over that now, and as people point out, I should be old enough to be over that now. But yes, I've got almost, because I've had only about 3 hours sleep. Apologies, guys. So I remember the point now. Right, it's this. I thought throughout this journey that because Richard is so concerned about looking after his investors in terms of not wanting them to be hacked, so he's he warns you, you know, self-custody. He warns you, don't go on strange websites to claim airdrops, that sort of thing. He worries about that. And he worries about making sure he's got a good crypto for people. And he warned us about Alex Mashinsky. He warned us about Sam Bankman-Fried, all that sort of thing. So I thought he's going to look after us emotionally in the 2022 bear market, which, Dane, we were saying was a rough time in 2023. I thought he'd hold our hand more and sort of stop the impatient from sort of wanting to. And what I've realized is I think he's actually actively encouraging the weak hands to go. I saw somebody found a tweet from him way back in 2021 where basically he said something like, first I put out some smack talk and then I introduced the good things. In other words, he was saying, I want to shake the weak hands and the non-believers out. Then I'm going to, you know, help my crypto go to the moon. And so I think this is something I misread about Richard. I thought he would sort of hold our hand sort of in the sentiment sense and help us out and encourage us. And there's none of that. And he's been doing a lot of tweeting lately. And if you look at the tweets and the tone of them, there's no, because I said to a friend, you know, if I'd written that, because, you know, it's like, there's no sort of acknowledgement of this has been tough, or, you know, I realize we're down 99% for those, but you know what I mean? I know we're on beans again today, lads, but you know,
we're at all-time highs on Hex. I don't know if you realize that, but we were at all-time highs just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about, Dane. It's that if you look at the tone and the language, so like there was that long message he did where he sort of like demanding the community did something else, and I just think, but it could really have done with a sentence or two just saying, I know this has been tough, guys, hang in there or something. But there's none of that. And it's almost like he's deliberately wanting to shake out the weak hands, because it'd be very easy for him to inject that tone just in a sentence or two, you know. But there's none of it. It's cold. It's like, oh, you're gonna now. What you guys have to do is you got to go off and do this. Did you think, well, hang on, Richard, we've suffered so badly. Can't you sort of say something encouraging? You know, and I'm not talking about price predictions. I'm just sort of saying something like, I realize it's been tough, or, you know, there's none of it. And so I think that he's actually quite happy. So if you do sell your PLS to get into a shiny meme coin project that happens not to be a good one, happens to be a rug pull. There's some guy whose name starts with G who's launched 7 meme coins, which have all been a disaster. I now think that if when Richard sees people sell millions, if not billions of PLS to get into the 7th meme coin from the founder whose name starts with G, I think he smiles and quite likes it. I think he's like, well, you aren't deserving. You can go. I think Richard's preoccupation is more, I want to have the robust crypto that's never had an exploit, never had any downtime, never had any hacks. This is important to him. I think he wants to give Corey and Dane and Crypto 7 the opportunity to become rich. But if people want to go and waste their money on the wrong meme coins, because we talked about the good ones from people like Crispy and Axie and Randy, and there are good meme coins out there, and you know, but I don't think he cares. I think he quite likes it. It's like, great, you know, and maybe there'll be a time when we're out of this phase when he will just be encouraging as well, and I think then maybe the tone will be more warm. But I just think it seems like quite cold fish. In the UK we say that's quite cold fish. The way it's just the tone and the language, it's a bit like, oh, you know. Do you know what I mean?
I think, and I'm with you, but it's not like it would be so off-brand for him to be warm and cuddly, right? Like, he's never been that person.
No,
I don't anticipate him to be that person. I've been really pleasantly surprised to see him talk about other things that have done well on PulseChain. That was something that I felt like we needed. I thought it was critical for him to talk about good things on PulseChain outside of his stuff. So we've seen that. You know, maybe we get a warm and cuddly Richard and we sell off into the sunset. But it's just like so off-brand for him. I think I'd be surprised by that.
Those sort of like, really pleased what you guys have all done, you know, in petitioning the SEC or this sort of thing, or the amicus brief stuff. There's no sort of, but now I want you to do this. There's no sort of, there's none of that. It's just, yeah, you got to do this, now you got to do that. And I just thought, yeah, it's almost like he's deliberately trying to shake out, you know, that's kind of the vibe I got. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Dane, definitely.
And I don't even know if it's deliberate so much as like he's always been a brash person, you know? Like, I don't ever remember a time where I felt like Richard was like there and it was warm and it was friendly. It's always been like, F you if you're not with me and we're winning as a whole. Right now, there's not a lot of like winning to be talked of. And so what are you left with unless Richard pivots his personality in a big way? You and I and Corey, if we were in charge, we would be doing outreach and we would be saying nice things, and we would be able to get adoption that way. But that's never been Richard's stick, and I've
always been attracted to that, the arrogance and confidence in Richard. Like, just like when I'm investing in a real estate, when I'm having a conversation with the operator, if that guy shows any sign of weakness, I won't invest with him. Where like, that's what Richard has this confidence and just like, I'm going to take on the world. That's what sold me into him. Like, I buy into that, like, you know, and people get offended by that because their ego gets offended by his ego. Like, let his ego, don't get offended by his ego. If you see past the ego, you see opportunity. Ego is the biggest killer of opportunities. One of my favorite sayings. And it holds true in this scenario. And but to your point, Crypto 7, I think that's what shakes out the weak hands.
I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he's not concerned about the collateral damage. So So you guys are very high IQ. The people that watch your channel are very high IQ. Don't take this the wrong way. But the people who maybe are more susceptible, I thought he'd care more about them. You know, the people that didn't go to university, that they're in Hex and PulseChain, but they're getting a bit nervous. He doesn't seem to care. Well, just sell then. Just sell or just buy some shiny things because that makes my ecosystem look better anyway. I don't care. Brings the prices down and we can catapult up. I think he's very, very concerned about giving people the best crypto out there. I think he's very, very concerned about the technical elements of it, the tokenomics and things. I just think he doesn't lose any sleep over the collateral damage. I don't know. It's a bit like, you know, it's a bit like the sergeant major sort of approach. If you can't make it, if you can't do 100 press ups, if you can't do the 4-minute mile or something, you're off the team. And I don't care. You know, you're gone. You know, I think he seems quite happy for that to happen, and that's where I was wrong. And when I was streaming and sort of, I was being quite bullish and trying to do predictions because I know that's what people like. You know, that's what makes like people buy cryptos. If you go outside of the Hex and PulseChain ecosystem, it's the next 100x gaming token. Why this AI coin's going to 200x by Christmas? All that sort of thing. Alex Becker's the best for it. He's like, this is going to 50x by the end of the week. And everyone buys it, you know, because people love it.
Dumps on their heads.
And I'll leave you with this comment, unless you guys have got other things, because you've given me a lot of time and I really appreciate it. And I really, as I say, admire your channel. Do make sure to subscribe, everyone who's come over and things, and give them a like, and let's see if we can get record views and things for them on this one. But the one of the things which I really think is that in 2022, back to the bear market of 2022, every Hex streamer was happily doing price predictions. And of course, we all caught a cold and we're all really reticent now. And as I say, other ecosystems were doing them non-stop. The Solana guys, constant price predictions. And it's what gets the eyeballs, you see. At the time, though, we had no data. We didn't know when PulseChain was going to launch. We didn't know what the macroeconomics were going to be. We didn't know what the rates were going to be. We didn't know what this NASDAQ was going to be. We knew nothing. And we were magicking these numbers up. But now, we've got tons of data we could put in. We know exactly where Ethereum is. We know the forecast that all these top analysts are saying. Bitcoin's going to go somewhere between 120 to 450. I think it'll stop out at about 250,000. A, because that's what Richard Hart says. B, because I think these big institutions are going to decide that's more than enough and they're going to start selling hard, and that's going to pull the whole market down fast. So I think it could go to 1 million, but it won't. There's hardly any on the exchanges anymore. We got one buyer who's sought to be in Saudi that's buying like 1,000 Bitcoin a day. You know, so it could go, but it won't because people will take profit and things. But right now we're in a position where we could be doing some cracking price predictions, particularly off these low numbers. You know, guys like K4K and all the other Hex streamers.
Jane's favorite.
Yeah, that's right. They could be doing these price predictions and things with tons of data. It's not like...
What would you do? So I think this conversation is a really interesting one. If you were somebody that stood up there and said 10,000x and nobody's going to sell if they're underwater, we're all just going to go off and sing Kumbaya. And you said that for 2 fucking years. And over and over and over, and you got everybody to buy the top when it finally launched. You know, like, how would you feel like you wanted to come back on stream and make price predictions when I promised the comments on there would be, fuck you, I bought the top because of you, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be all the comments.
You're 100% right. I couldn't agree more with you, Dane. You kind of like, in my head, I go like, there's like 2 voices. There's one going, you know, really, if you wanted Hex and PulseChain to pump, you should be going, why Hex and you should be, all your videos should be, why Hex and PulseChain are going to 50x by such and such. You know, there's one channel that just covers Bitcoin. It's got tons of viewers. And every single time he just says, so-and-so has predicted such and such a price. Why Bitcoin's going to $1 million? Why Bitcoin's going to $700,000? Why Bitcoin's going to 900,000? Every single day, it's like that. And you're totally right. None of us want to do it anymore. And it's like, but really we should. Really we should.
And now is the time to be trying to get people in with cheap prices. You know what I mean? You're spot on. I agree 100%.
This is it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And we can like shot our load early. We need to do it now. Yeah.
And everyone will be doing these bullish predictions, Dane, when we've done the next 50x. Then all these people will come out and say, this is why Hex is going to $10 and this is why PLS is going to 10,000x, and nobody will mind, because of course, just as we now don't want to do it because we know we would get trolls. I mean, I got a lot of grief about it, even though I was never doing the 10,000x gains. But so I tried to keep people optimistic with lots of, I say, I think the PulseChain is going to be out next month, and it wouldn't be, or that sort of thing. And people got frustrated. You're exactly right. I mean, I think that's why I haven't got 10,000 subscribers, because I was pushing those kind of things. I just thought that was the right thing to be doing. Now, if I had my time again, I would think I'd adopt more of the Richards attitude of like, if you want to sell, you know. And I don't. It's funny, but that's what brought so many people to this PulseChain sacrifice, and that's what pumped the price of Hex up so high. When on the run up to PulseChain was all the streamers doing the predictions, and now we've got all the data to do some perfectly legitimate predictions. Ironically, I see Hex streamers predicting what meme coins are going to do, which based on nothing. I mean, that's the funny thing. I love meme coins and great, and I hope Hexkins and PulseKins make money on them, and they're an essential part of the ecosystem. But you know, it's so funny listening to them, listening to really intelligent people, much cleverer than me, just coming up with reasons why they think something. And they tend to say, well, it's only $1 billion market cap, so it's going to go to at least 5, isn't it? Or there's no, you know, it's only a in the case of meme coins, only a 5 million market cap. That's all they've got, really. It's only they say it's only a low market cap, therefore, you know. But it's funny.
Right.
I actually think that's a great point, because you can point to PulseChain and PulseX and Hex and Ink, and you can give, in my opinion, really solid reasons why it should perform quite well. So I think you make some really good points. We talk about onboarding a lot on our show, and trying to cut through the narratives and give better information. And now is the time to be bringing people in to be able to buy these lows. And I think it's critical, like you're saying, talking about
I saw
why we could go do insane gains from here.
Thanks,
yeah,
Dave.
where is the K4K cryptos right now? Where is the Kareem? Where's the Kareems right now? Where is the these guys
after 50x? They got
exactly the guys who shilled me to buy 40 cents.
We need them now, don't we?
Where are they now? Yeah, where are they now? Come on,
yeah.
They need more goldfish that have no memory of their past sins that'll come back and eat all the copium and the dopamine.
Because I can honestly feel responsible right now. Like this responsible shilling. I call this responsible shilling because we're telling people to get in at a bottom. Like this is responsibly shilling good protocol. Not where you go to 50x and you irresponsibly shill somebody to the top.
And this is part of the problem we've got. And I love K4K. I think he's got a girlfriend now, hasn't he? I think, but I love good. K4K. And imagine how, and that's great. But imagine, and I imagine that keeps him occupied. But imagine how good his predictions would be now that he's actually got data. Now that he's actually got data, he can actually see how much is being bought by the ETF. And speculate that it's Saudi Arabia buying all this Bitcoin. But they don't want people to know, because then you're going to have an arms race for all these countries wanting to buy the Bitcoin. And imagine what K4K could do, because he goes away, doesn't he, for about 2 weeks with a wet towel around his head and produces an amazing stream that gets tons of eyeballs outside of the ecosystem. You know. Yeah. I think people, that's part of the problem, you see, and nobody wants to do it anymore because we know the backlash we'd get, and I can't be bothered with it. Like same reason as you guys, you know. But really, that's what we should all be doing again, is making predictions, because all the other cryptos are doing it. Even Cardano
and we're at the bottom. We're at the bottom, and we have one of the greatest ecosystems in crypto. Period.
So So to all the hex streamers out there, make a name for yourself by doing price prediction streams. Do it. Or what? I mean, you're encouraging people to get in, and it could drop what, another 30% maybe. So you'd miss 30% of a 10,000x, which means you just get a 7,000x. You know, no one's gonna mind then, are they? Oh, crypto 7, but you said it was a bottom and it went down another 20%, so I only made a 500x. You know.
Right. I like it. I like the narrative.
Well, maybe we should agree to do that now. Maybe between us, we should agree to do price prediction videos.
I agree to it, and I also agree to be an ETH maxi too.
I'm sure I saw Somi do a 120x price prediction on Dick Butts. I mean, he's obviously got a lot of it. Top guy and all the rest. I don't do the whole ritual Somi worship, but I respect the guy. He respects me. We talk on Twitter. I respect the guy, but I don't suck up to him at all. But I've noticed that Somi's doing a 120x price prediction on Dick Butts, and he's doing about a 10x prediction on PLS or something. So come on, K4K, come to the rescue. What the fuck's going on there? And where does he get that from? Oh, because it's a small market cap, it's going to go up a lot. Well, you could say that about anything, couldn't you? I could launch a coin tomorrow and say that. Oh, look at Joe. It's only got a tiny market cap. It's gonna be mental, you know.
Right.
Oh man. Anyway, shout out to Somi. Shout out to Somi.
Yeah, price prediction TA Fridays. I like it. I like this.
Yeah, we'll hammer it out on Open Mic Friday. We can get Sprack Burger on and talk about 1000x on
Smash the
PulseChain.
likes for these boys. Make sure you've tapped the bell for these boys. Fantastic duo.
Yeah, and guys, if you're watching our show and you're not subscribed to Crypto 7, go over and subscribe to his show. I watch his show in the morning when I'm doing my morning run. Absolutely amazing show. The alpha he brings to the table is bar none. And he's been streaming through the bull and the bear all through, no matter what. Stop. And so we appreciate that about you, Crypto 7. We really do, man, that you're in here in the thick of it, whether there's FUD or FOMO. You're out there delivering the data and the info, and I love that.
And when I stop streaming this time, guys, at the top of the bull market, you'll know it's the top because I will disappear.
Oh, boom.
I've not checked that NASDAQ price.
Dude, guys, you didn't hear that earlier from the show. Rewind the show, go back and hear where he's talking about how he tied the NASDAQ price in crypto. That's how it's going to be his top indicator for 2025. Freaking alpha.
Yeah, they've got the inside track. They are much more connected than the crypto bros, and they know they supply the arms. They do the bank loans. They know what's going on. They knew about the 300 friendly drones on the Thursday. NASDAQ started dumping hard on the Friday. Us crypto bros were running around like headless chickens on the Saturday. So now we watch this. And then we get hypnotized so that as soon as we see a 15%, because that's going to be really hard, guys. It's going to be so hard. It's one thing saying, oh yeah, Corey, Dane, when NASDAQ starts to poop the bed, I will. But you won't. You'll go, I'm just need another $1 million for my brother-in-law because I promised I'd help him with the house and things. And you just won't want to sell. And then it'll dump so hard that you won't want to sell then either. And then suddenly you're round tripping the bags again, which we've all done, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Well, I really enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Anything else, Dan, before we hop and grab a lunch? This was a blast.
Great. Yeah.
This was freaking perfect. Oh, my God, bro. Thank you so much again. We appreciate you coming on. Let's do it in the future sometime, man. This was just an absolute blast. If you guys once again go
come on my show next time,
we would love it.
Come over to my show.
We would love it, man. And
that's a date. And we've agreed to do some price predictions because it's great.
We will.
We've got some action points from this stream, haven't we? Put comments in the replay, guys. We always check out the replay comments and just say what you think of us having a go. Because listen, Somi's made a prediction recently that Dick Butts is doing 120x. I noticed he did a little video. He did a 20-minute video today. It was 2 minutes of macro, and then it was 18 minutes of shilling Dick Butts. And he's saying 120x. well, come on. If Dick Butts is doing 120x, what's PLS doing? Come on, guys, let's do it. Good, and shout out to Dick Butts, you know.
Let's do it. I like it. Seriously, that'll be fun. Let's do more of that.
Great.
Yeah, guys, smash the likes, hit the subscribe. If you're over on Twitter, I see like 300 of you guys over there. Like, I know that's not exactly accurate in the algorithm, but come over and hit the likes and subscribe on YouTube so you can pump our show up, Pump Crypto 7 show up, so we can bring you the alpha during the bull while everyone else is shilling you the narratives.
Yes, and that's pumping your bags, guys. You're in control. You know, you're in control of something at last.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Cool, guys.
Cheers,
Thanks again.
guys.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys later.
Peace, guys.
Peace.